Good morning. Happy Sabbath once again. Are you happy to be here this morning? I'm happy to be here this morning. It's so good to see all of you. As many of you know, our group today here is from Tri-City Christian Academy. As you all well support us and, love us and help us, with your prayers and donations, and we thank you so much. And this morning, we want to tell you about an amazing experience that we were able to experience. This past March, just about a month ago, a little over a month ago, we had the opportunity to go to India. That's a long way away. It's a long way away, and it took a lot of work to get there, but we were excited, and we have a great group here this morning who is great group here this morning who's excited to share with you some of the amazing experiences that happened to them in India. So, if we could have our first miniature speaker come up. Anyone willing? Jordan, we have Jordan. Jordan, are you ready? All right, we have Jordan coming up. You know, there are quite a few people here this morning who just want to share with you some of the amazing experiences that we were able to experience. And Jordan here is not quite a member of Tri-City, but next year he will be with us as a freshman. So he is so excited to share with you his testimony.
Happy Sabbath. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about our experience here in India. So, when you go on a mission trip, what's your main goal? If you were to go on a mission trip right now, tomorrow, what would you be going to do? To serve, to help people, right? So, when we got there, that was our intention, to serve and help people. But what we didn't realize that we were actually going to be the ones being served and being helped. The people, when we got there, before we had even started working, they were so thankful just for us being there. They had given us homemade, they made them flower necklaces for each and every one of us as students. And the thanks that they gave us, they were endless. There was a lady later on in the trip who all of us as students and all the people on the trip put together some money to buy a cow for. So when we got there, we actually helped her present the cow. We presented the cow to her. And even though it was late at night and dark, she was still smiling and happy and thanking us so much and taking pictures with us. And it was an amazing experience. It was amazing to see their gratefulness, even though they weren't as privileged as us. And sometimes they seemed even happier than we were serving them. And that just really helped us and gave us an amazing experience and put an impact on us that we have never really experienced before. And that's my part about my impact, the impact that India had made on me in this March trip. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Wynton. First of all, happy Sabbath. Um, eh, can you guys hear me? I'm okay. All right, thank you. Um, I would first of all, I would like to thank everybody for the support and everything that you gave us, and all the donations because I know for sure it probably wouldn't have been possible for me to be able to go on this mission trip, and but yeah, I'm really thankful for that. Something that I want to talk about uh, is what was my biggest impact? What was the biggest impact that was like on me on the mission trip? And that was well, first of all, when we got there, something that really I didn't realize was gonna happen was how many people were trying to take our pictures and stuff like that. Like we were walking around and not only did I realize that I was probably one of the only black people out there, number one. But then there was a whole bunch of other white people that they had never seen. Some of the people had never seen white people in person or maybe ever at all. So there was a lot of people out there like they're like, oh my gosh, they're like, and then I was sitting on I remember I was on an escalator, and this dude like he just tapped me. He was like selfie. I was like, yeah, sure. And then so yeah, that was one of the things that impacted me the most. But even more than that, something that really that made an impact on me was how I should definitely be thankful for what I have here in America. Because whenever you go there, like, no, I take that back. Whenever you're here, you know, you see homeless people and stuff like that walking on the street with like a cart or whatever. But then whenever you go there, you see people with nothing, like not even shoes, like ripped up clothes. Like I remember seeing people that had clothes that you could tell hadn't been washed in such a long time that like you could tell that it was something that had colors. It was clothes that had like colors and whatnot, but it hadn't been washed in so long that everything was just brown. You could see dirt sitting in their hair, and like it was bad. But yeah, I wish after that trip I was like I wish I could just take it. I didn't want to be disrespectful or anything and just go up to a homeless person and be like, "Can I take a picture of you, please?" But you know, I wanted to like see if I could take a picture and then show maybe the homeless people here and then they would be like, wow, I didn't realize how much I had more than them, even though I don't have much. I still have more. So yeah, that's the impact that was on me on the mission trip.
Okay, so my name's Andrew, and yes, I went to India this year. This is actually my 4th mission trip. I've gone every single year, and I just love going and doing lots of outreach and stuff. And what impacted me was not so much like the trip, but there was someone on the trip. I've forgotten her name, but she was an older lady, and we were having a Vespers, and she came up and she gave this story about how I think her husband had gotten sick, and there was a storm, and there were just trees everywhere, and she lives like out in the middle of nowhere, and there was no way that she was going to be able to clean it all up. And she was just telling the story of how these pathfinders came, and her husband made it really difficult for them to come. He made them sign like contracts to be there, but the pathfinders, the leader, still wanted to help her, and they went and they helped. And she was just saying how big of an impact they had on her, seeing those kids out there helping her with they didn't charge her or anything. They were just there being Jesus's hands and feet of Jesus. And that just really inspired me, and I was like, wow, this is why I do what I do, and this is why I'm here, and to impact people like that. So, you never know how big of an impact you're going to have on somebody in someone's life. So, yeah, thank you.
Hi, my name is Sydney, and this was my 2nd mission trip. We were both part of the VBS team, and so I was working with the kids the whole time pretty much, and I was a little bit nervous at first. I wasn't sure how it was going to go. I was like, are the kids going to like me? You know what I mean? I get really nervous really easily. So when I got there and everything, at one of the places, this kid I noticed was just smiling the whole time, and that just made me really a lot more comfortable. He was a little bit mischievous, but he was always smiling, and he was so proud of his craft. He wanted to show us all his craft and everything, and he wanted to take pictures. So that just made me feel so much more comfortable. And I really received a blessing from the kids because I saw how happy they were just to receive a craft. Here we might just take something for granted like that, like a couple pieces of paper, but they're so happy, and that just really made me appreciate what I have here.
Well, my name is Nora, and this was also my 2nd mission trip. Sydney said I was part of the VBS team, and one particular instance in the mission trip that stood out to me happened on the first and last day. It was kind of a coordinating thing. When we got there, we all sat in this big house, And they told us what we would be doing, the crafts we would be making, the songs we would be singing. And I sat there and I thought, this isn't going to be so bad. Like, how hard can it be to sing some songs and, like, pass out some crafts? We get there, and all 12 of us walk into the building, and I just see rows and rows and rows of children, like a never-ending stream of children, all staring at us, begging for googly eyes. There is nothing more terrifying than a wave of 20 children coming forward you, all screaming for pickup sticks while holding glue sticks waving in their hands. It was chaos. It was fun, but like they were screaming, tables were turning, they broke a window. It was a lot to happen all at once. And there was 12 volunteers. When the last day rolled along, Saturday, they told us like, hey, you're going to have more kids on Saturday, on Sabbath, because all the people from the villages come from the east to the west, and it's just a big thing. Sydney and I, we get to the building with our leader, and we see the rows of kids, and we wait for the others to show up. And we wait. And we wait. And then we've got like 5 minutes before, showtime, and nobody is here. It's just us, Miss Wilson, and like 278 children waiting for us to give them crafts. Like 30 seconds before, I was like, okay, listen. The clock is ticking. God, you need to do a miracle like right now, otherwise we're going to get swallowed. It could not have gone better. It literally could not have gone better. The children were cooperative, they were smiling, everyone was happy, we sang songs. At the end of it, I was exhausted, but I could not believe how much of a miracle God had just performed. That was one of the many things that kind of impacted me on the trip, but it was just one of the things that stood out. Thank you.
Good morning, church. First, I want to say thank you to everyone in this church for helping me go to India. Without you guys, I would not be up here at all today. And thank you for those who took the extra mile to really push forward for me to go. I was impacted by this trip 2 ways. One was the plane ride. I'd never ridden on a plane, or when I had, I was really young and I really don't remember, but when I got on the plane, I was terrified because I hear all these stories on the news every day. A plane has crashed and someone explodes horribly. But I was sitting there and I was like, I don't want to die on this plane. And, I sat there and I prayed to God, Lord, please carry this plane. And my faith was really strengthened by God because God carried us through that plane. Because, in our plane we were riding was a model that crashes a bunch. And they were about to stop the plane from flying because it crashes a bunch. So God really helped us through that. And second, I was impacted a lot by the children there. Like as Nora said, the kids, there were a bunch of kids, but they were all so sweet and so nice and so respectful. Like you couldn't walk 2 minutes without someone calling you ma'am. Excuse me, ma'am. Please, ma'am. They were so respectful and they were so kind. They always greeted us with gifts. They always sang welcoming songs to us. And they would always try to help to translate from English to their language. So it was very nice.
Good morning, church. Happy Sabbath. So this is my second mission trip, and it's honestly, every time I've been, it's a huge impact on me. We get off the plane in India, and everybody's just looking at you because you're different. Like Wynton said, they were sitting there trying to take pictures of you all the time, and everywhere you go, you just realize that you're different. And I think it was about Thursday or Friday of the first week that we got there, Miss Spivey asked me and one of my friends to do special music for the church. And we're like, okay. So we decided to do Amazing Grace. And the beautiful thing about that was when we got up there, you're still different. You don't speak their language, they don't speak yours. But when we got up there and we started singing Amazing Grace, the whole church started singing with us. The Maranatha volunteers were singing in English, and the Indians were singing in their native language. And this happened every church service that we did. We would sing the songs that we were familiar with, and they would sing the songs that they were familiar with. And it just, it struck me at a certain point that no matter where you go, as long as you're a Christian, we're always going to be united by Christ.
Good morning and happy Sabbath. So I was able to go on the India mission trip this year. Oh, my name is Juna, and I was able to go on the India mission trip this year. And when you first go on a mission trip, I'm thinking to myself, oh, okay, I'm going to go to this country, and I'm going to impact these people, and I'm going to help them out, you know. But really, it was the other way around. When we went there, the kids really just touched me in a way that is so unexplainable. So, like, for me, I do gymnastics at my school, and so we're at work, and we're just hanging around, and there's not a lot to do, so we decide that we're gonna flip around and show the kids like what we could do. And little did we know that they were gonna show us up, and they were way better than us. So like, it was just amazing to see how like we connected with similar things that we do back at home, you know? So.
Okay. Hi, my name is Kyla. I also was able to go to a mission trip for the first time. And kind of to piggyback off what Junabari said, even though I don't do gymnastics, I feel like I'm a really good basketball player. So, yeah, we had a little game. We was going to be Maranatha Volunteers against India. And as Junabari said, they did show us up, especially me. I really liked how we interacted with them, but I was really impacted by the way they would play with no shoes and still be able to run all the way across the court and still be happy and without complaining. Because if we don't have our latest Jordans or, you know, Kyrie's or whatever different shoe you like, we always complain about not wanting to play basketball. But they played without shoes, without proper basketball clothes, and I thought that was really nice.
Hi, I'm back again. If you didn't catch my name the first time, my name is Michaela, and I'm a junior. And this is, I've been going on mission trips with my school since my freshman year, so I've been very blessed. And this was just an amazing trip that I was able to experience. Not only were we able to connect, you know, on the job site, laying block with the other Maranatha, you know, volunteers, hard work, but we were able to, you know, connect with them and grow closer to each other. But I really felt I gained a new connection with God. And everyone says that when they come back from a mission trip, right? You know, that's the whole goal, is you want to get connected to God and that kind of thing. But this time in particular really struck me in a different way. One example of that in particular was kind of I experienced it on Sabbath. So our last Sabbath there, as some people other had talked about Sabbath, you know, singing and such things like that. Our last Sabbath there, the Maranatha team said, all right, we need someone to teach Cornerstone or Sabbath school for the teenagers. And I was just, you know, sitting there kind of looking off, you know, not trying to avoid eye contact, you know, trying not to get chosen. And one of the older ladies in the group came up to me and she said, go up there and sign up. And I said, hi, me? And she said, yeah, go sign up. And I said, okay. So I went up, and to Miss Loretta, our coordinator, I said, I'll do a Cornerstone. I'll teach Sabbath school. And the best part was I was going to teach Sabbath school with a partner, Mrs. Briggs, our teacher. So, you know, I didn't need to worry about anything. I had somebody who's used to teaching, who's a professional teacher. So I didn't need to worry about a thing. I was set. So I got my lesson. I went back to my room. I read through it a couple of times. I didn't, you know, make any notes or anything. I just read through it a couple of times. And I was like, I am ready. Miss Briggs and I are just going to kill this. We're going to be so good. And we sat down that morning. And as people said, you walk in there, and there's way more kids than you expect. And as it turned out, there was more Sabbath school classes than we expected, too. So they say, you know, Michaela, can you do this by yourself? And I was like, well, I guess I don't really have much choice. And yeah, I think I can. So I'm like, yeah, I can do it. So I'm walking, and I'm on my way, walking with the kids. I started talking to these 3 girls. And then Andrew came up to me, and he said, are you teaching this by yourself? And I was like, you know what? I am. And I was relying on Miss Briggs. Oh, man, I don't know what I'm doing. I said, guys, I don't even have my Bible. I left it in the bus. And so Wesley says, well, I have my Bible. You can borrow my Bible. So I've got Wesley's Bible now. And I'm like, oh, man, I should have really prepared better. I shouldn't have relied so much on Miss Briggs. And now I'm kicking myself because I'm like, what am I going to do now? I've got a room of what? How many kids did you guys say was in there? 60 maybe? 50, 60, or 70 kids. All right? And the best part is they don't really speak English that well. So I got to make it simple. I got to make it very concise, but I got to make it still good. So I get there, and I tell my friends, I say, guys, I just got to say prayer. I got to say prayer. So I'm just praying to myself. I'm saying, Lord, this is all up to you because I didn't study like I should have. It's my fault, but help me. And I got there, and I started talking, and, the others who were in the room would tell you, Christ spoke through me that day because the lesson and everything went very well received. They were laughing. They were talking back to us. And I hadn't studied. So I really felt God's presence in that way. I felt that that's how it made an impact in my life. I saw that he's working and that he does play a big part in my life, and then he does help me and carry me.
Can you see me here? Oh, okay, because then I won't try to navigate the stairs. Hi, my name is Carol Briggs. I'm a teacher at Tri-City Christian Academy, and it was because of your generosity that I got to go to India this year. I know people think teachers make loads of money, but that is not true. And so I am so grateful for all of the donations and the prayers, because that's really my impact. I don't talk about this very often, but I have glaucoma, and I've had it for probably 10 years now, and slowly but surely my eyesight is degenerating. And so this trip was really a test of faith for me, because I didn't have my husband with me. He's kind of my seeing eye dog. And I was going out on a limb because I said, Lord, how can you use me? Because I can barely, navigate around, and I'm going halfway across the world, supposedly taking care of students. And I'm, how am I going to do that, God? I don't know how, this doesn't seem really a smart idea. I even had my mom telling me this is not a smart idea. Other people telling me this is not a smart idea. And so I had a talk with God. And I said, God, you want me to go? You're going to provide a means everywhere I go to take care of me. That's what I said. Because I can't be a danger to anybody else. You have to be there for me. That was my prayer. And I had to pray that prayer I don't know how many times a day. Because there were some situations, like even walking on the street in a local market, I had to tie a little scarf around one of the Maranatha people that were with us, and he helped me. He guided me through that place, because I would have been horribly lost. In the airport, it's just, even navigating your way through the dinner line is, people just don't think about it. But when you are missing a crucial sense, that becomes critical for you. And so God showed up for me every single time. If it wasn't those kids over there that he used, it was somebody else. He showed up for me every single time. I'm here to attest that God can use you. Do not say that God cannot use you. Whatever situation you are in, he can use you, and he will come through. But you have to put your foot in the water. And so that was my biggest impact, because God showed me that I still have use. And the second thing I wanted to talk about that really impacted me is when we went, there was a huge mound of bricks. I don't know if a picture came up there, but there was a huge, I can't even tell you how huge. It's probably halfway from that pole to the back of the church of block, not bricks, sorry, block, heavy block that we were told had to be moved inside the building. Upstairs, yes. And every day we'd make a little conveyor belt of people, and we would pass that block. And some of these students that you think aren't strong, I have news for you. They are very strong. Samson would be, wow, I can't believe it. They impressed me so much. They didn't, not even a peep of complaint. Everybody was tired, everybody was sore, but when they said, hey, we need a line, we'd show up and we'd make that line. Even if it was a line of 10 people, we'd make a line. And that Thursday, we moved the last block. I can't tell you what that was like. Moving that, I mean, we were like, we're not gonna stop till we move every last one of these things. And we kept on. This man here was at the lead, and he was passing them, and I was passing them, and we were just going. And I was counting, 124, 125, and we were done, and it was like we had climbed Mount Everest. It was such a glorious feeling that God had given us the strength to move that. That was 240,000 pounds of block that we moved, 6,000 block. And so the miracles that God provided there were just so awesome to me. And I'm just grateful to be a part of his plan, that we can encourage our students. And whenever you have a chance to be able to help someone to go on a mission trip, please do, because the impact on their life it will ripple forever. And I thank you again for your support.
Amen. Good morning and happy Sabbath. The last time I said that to somebody, I was actually in India. My name is Steve Evans. I'm a deacon with New Light Missionary Baptist Church at 1105 Willow Road, Dr. Curtis H. Brown. My daughter goes to this school. I am not Seventh-day Adventist. Thank you. And I was jokingly saying, man, India would be a lot of fun. I would love to go to India. But a visionary heard me say that. And she walked up to me, Miss Spivey, and said, are you serious? I said, yeah. She said, well, will you go? I said, India? Are you kidding me? I want to get an outfit. Yeah, I'd go. She says, okay. And I'm like, uh-oh. She said, what would stop you from going? I said, I can give you 3,500 reasons why I cannot go, because I'm paying for my daughter to go. Well, one thing that Miss Spivey told me that really impacted me, she said, sometimes you got to get out of the way and let God do his work. You got to stop getting to the point that you are only relying on your limited mindset, your limited capability, your limited pockets. You need to stop relying on you. So I told her, sure, I could do that. Mind you, now I'm a probation officer. I've been in law enforcement since 1986. Okay, yeah. So, when I deal with kids, I'm putting cuffs on them. So I'm thinking, whoa, what are you doing? Why are you trying to, okay. I don't know these kids. The only reason why my daughter's even here is because of Miss April Anderson, April. Because when I came to the school, she's the first one that I met, and I said, oh yeah, my daughter needs to come here. My daughter, this warmth, this love, this organization, this impactful person, I want them to be in the hemisphere of my child. And that is why I'm here. I've never been into a Seventh-day Adventist school. I work Baptist, okay? We'd be in here till about 4 today. Anyway, so I didn't know these kids. Only experience around the kids is me and Mr. Cousins talking about, well, we won't go into that. But that was my only experience. So I said, sure. Well, she called my bluff, And she said, okay, we're going to do it like this, and this will happen. Watch God work. I said, okay, yeah, I believe in God. I'll watch him work. Ooh, you mean I'm really going? I would call her every 2 or 3 weeks. You mean I'm going to go to India? She's like, yeah, man, it's happening. And I'm like, okay. I'm going to India. A passport and all this other stuff. So like Mr. Parker's daughter was saying, we got on the plane and it's like, dude, I'm going to India. Hold up. Wait, whoa, slow down. Miss Spivey says, make sure you bring some work boots and gloves. She don't tell you that each one of those blocks were 35 pounds. There's a little beast over here. Put your hand up. Where are you? Carissa. Oh, my God. This little white girl wore me out. I'm trying to move a brick. She's like, keep it coming. I'm like, oh, what are you doing? She's young. We worked. And we realized we were there to try to help them. But that work and how God made a way was helping us. You eliminated, because the next day someone decided, I've got some anti-inflammatories for you, Mr. Evans. And I said, oh, okay, I'll take one. Hey, I feel good. I hope this is legal. Anyway, so I went on ahead and we worked. And like Winston was saying, as we walked through the streets, you know, you think to yourself, because, you know, like Mr. Parker, you know, I don't have any hair, so there aren't very many bald-headed black men in India. I know a lot of people don't realize that. So they look at you and it's like, and I'm thinking, dude, you better back up. I don't know you. So, because I'm a cop. I'm thinking like a cop. I'm sorry. You can pull me down. Okay, so, but the most impactful thing, that's it, let me get back. Thank you. The most impactful thing that happened to me in India, there was two. The first thing is when we went to the first Sabbath, I had never been to a Sabbath celebration. That's why I view it. But they welcomed us there by washing our feet. Chills came. And I wish you could have seen Winston smile as they were wiping his feet, because he was like, and it was just, we're strangers in your land. We're here to help you. For me, how humbling. How humbling. And then the character of these children. This is amazing. The character of these kids working physical labor. I ain't talking about just, you know, physical labor, working to the point that then when they brought out those bananas and the tangerines, oh my God, that was so good. But for them to work the way that they did, seriously, guys, you all made me feel like my choice to bring my child here was the right choice. It was you all. God can make a way. And as Miss Spivey has said, and I'm finishing, get out of the way and let God do his work. Amen. I ain't going to even say it.
Wow. So everyone has said it, but I have to just say one more time, thank you so much. I hope that you see that when you pray and when you encourage and when you give, it's not just so that a school can be built in India or Africa, just throwing that out there. It's not just so that that can happen. It's not just so that some children can get some crafts and experience Vacation Bible School. Maranatha's motto is that they build people. That's really the bottom line. And so you do understand that as strong as Carissa is, the Maranatha workers could build these buildings in literally a third of the time that we do it. You understand that. And so the process of us just getting there, right? Because most of the people in this room are not loaded enough to just write a check and go. So the process of getting there, number one, and then the process of being there, number two, and then you hear what happens. So when you give 25, 50, 100, 3,000, whatever it is that you give, you're building people. That's what you're doing. I mean, the building, like Maranatha could go and they could knock these buildings out, but you build the people that go, and then you build all these children. The school is now 100% complete. It's done. It is 100. When I say done, yeah. And when I say done, I mean the president of Maranatha was there last week dedicating the building. And I'm like, dude, like, you need to have some of my kids there. They built the building, and he showed up and said, God bless you all, cut the ribbon. But literally, like, Maranatha, the bigwigs were there, the ribbon is cut, and the building is 100%. Yeah, the landscaping is done. One group came after us and did some painting. And so what a blessing to be able to be a part of something like that. Not just building a building, but building people. And so I can't say thank you enough for your support, for your encouragement, for your finances. I'm so grateful to Mr. Cousins, because I pretty much have an office at Tri-City. Like, when there's a mission trip going on, I live there. And poor April, every day I'm asking for something, Mr. Cousins, poor Carrie, oh my goodness. But they work with me. And so it's an honor and a privilege and a pleasure to do it. And I'll just end by saying one of the many things that impacted me. What nobody said is that when they said we had to do the Sabbath service, what they meant is that we had to do the Sabbath school program, I don't know, maybe 10 Sabbath school classes, and then all of the divine worship service. And I gave a lady in the group a sheet of paper and said, you don't have to do all of it, but I need you to be the one to find people. And so many people came to me because the adults in the trip slacked. I'm going to tell you the truth. The adults in the trip slacked because this group right here was so willing to do. So you didn't have to walk around and say, oh, please, can you do scripture? I'll give you a Tootsie Roll. Seriously, you try to bribe kids sometimes. I'm sorry to call you kids, but sorry. Somebody said young folk. But they were just so willing to just, I'll preach. I'll do the scripture. And so I took a lot of pictures on this trip because I sat down, because they were so willing to do everything that needed to be done. Singing, playing, preaching, teaching, whatever the case may be. So if you're not sitting here with a sense of godly and holy pride, you absolutely positively should be, because they were so amazing, and it was such a blessing to be with them and to be a part of the trip. So look at that, 11:59. This is not Ephesus, 11:59. Or what is it, Greater Missionary? Yeah. And so, again, we just want to thank you so very much for all your support and all your encouragement. Should I pray?